The ancient Egyptians mastered logistics, mathematics, hydraulics, and even energy concepts that we're only now beginning to understand through modern sensors. And all of this has been uncovered through recent excavations, cosmic particles, and forgotten documents buried in desert caves. You are about to discover the true technology behind the Egyptian pyramids. These structures weren't just built to impress the gods. They were built to prove that knowledge is the real form of eternity. The studies, the discoveries, the hidden chambers, the lies. And now, it will all be revealed. How did they move millions of tons of stone with such precision? What did an ancient Egyptian site manager's diary reveal about engineering 4,500 years ago? And why does a pyramid made of stone respond to electromagnetic frequencies like a modern-day device? These answers exist. They're not in myths, they're in science.
In 2025, more than 4,000 years after it was built, the Great Pyramid of Khufu is still standing strong. It's withstood violent weather shifts, desert winds, flash floods, wars, and even mass looting. At 455 feet tall, with 2.3 million stone blocks and over 6 million tons of weight, the structure remains intact. No concrete, no steel, no glue. The National Research Institute of Astronomy and Geophysics in Cairo recently published a little-known technical fact. Even after thousands of years of erosion, the stones are misaligned by less than 0.05 degrees. That level of precision isn't even common in modern buildings made with lasers. So how was this possible? In August 2022, a study published in the journal PNAS, led by geographers from the University of Northern France, used satellite imagery and geological surveys to analyze ancient sediment around Giza. The team, led by researcher Iman Ghonaim, identified a long-lost branch of the Nile River that once flowed just 500 meters from the pyramids. That channel, now buried, was still navigable until around 600 BC, but during the time the pyramids were built, it served as a natural highway for transporting massive stone blocks. These blocks were loaded onto boats made of reinforced papyrus and local wood, then floated directly to a man-made harbor carved into the bedrock at Giza. This port was first uncovered during excavations led by Ain Shams University in 2018, and later reanalyzed with LiDAR scans in 2021. Soil samples from the site showed strong evidence of ancient water activity, consistent with the traffic of heavy cargo boats. It wasn't sand ramps. It wasn't thousands of slaves dragging stones under a whip. It was a sophisticated river transport system, engineered with advanced hydraulic knowledge. In 2013, a game-changing discovery was made by accident inside a limestone cave in Wadi al-Jarf near the Red Sea. It was the diary of Mortar, the personal journal of a construction supervisor who lived during the reign of Khufu, around 2500 BC. In the diary, Mortar details daily shipments of limestone from the Tura quarry to Giza. He describes the use of dikes and floodgates to control water levels, allowing large stone blocks to float with minimal human effort. According to French historian Pierre Tillet, who led the translation and study of the papyrus, the system worked like a kind of hydraulic elevator, using water pressure and controlled flooding to move materials uphill. This ancient scroll is the only known first-hand account of pyramid construction ever discovered. It doesn't mention miracles. It doesn't mention slaves. It mentions logistics.
Of slavery. Just logistics. In 2015, the International ScanPyramids project, led by Cairo University and the HIP Institute of France, was granted permission by the Egyptian government to study the Great Pyramid of Khufu using non-invasive technologies. They used muography, a method that detects cosmic particles called muons, which pass through solid matter and reveal internal voids. The technique had been used before in volcanoes and nuclear reactors, but never in a 4,500-year-old structure. For more than a year, sensors were installed inside and around the pyramid to capture the passage of these particles. In 2017, the results were published in the journal Nature. A previously unknown cavity was detected above the Grand Gallery, measuring at least 30 meters in length. The space was not accessible by any visible tunnel, and its purpose remains unclear. But archaeologists noticed a detail most had overlooked. The position of the cavity was symmetrical to the main structure, suggesting it could be connected to a weight distribution or internal transport system. Meanwhile, an independent study led by French architect Jean-Pierre Houdin proposed a radical theory, first introduced in 2005 and revisited after the discovery of the void. According to Houdin, the blocks of the pyramid were lifted using an internal spiral ramp built within the structure itself as it rose. The theory was modeled in 3D with the support of engineers from Dassault Systems, who simulated the construction using industrial CAD software. They demonstrated that it would be possible to move blocks weighing up to 2.5 tons along a steady 7% incline using controlled internal turns. This ramp had never been seen because it would be literally embedded within the pyramid's inner walls. The void discovered by ScanPyramids may be the first physical evidence of that hidden path. In addition, thermal scanning conducted in 2016 revealed a series of anomalies in material density. These irregularities pointed to the presence of hollow spaces, suggesting such corridors may truly exist. In 2020, a team of geophysicists from Japan released a report after scanning the pyramid's foundations using ground-penetrating radar. They concluded that the base of the Great Pyramid varies in elevation by less than 2 centimeters across its 230-meter span. That level of alignment challenges the idea that only simple manual tools were used. It is believed the Egyptians used a water leveling method, similar to a shallow canal built around the foundation. This technique was successfully tested in 2018 by engineers at MIT, who managed to level a 30-meter base with a margin of error under 3 millimeters using only water bowls connected by hoses. Another important discovery came from microscopic studies of the mortar between the blocks. The mixture contained artificially heated gypsum and lime, forming a material with both adhesive and flexible properties. This allowed the blocks to shift slightly under extreme heat without causing the structure to crack. In other words, the Egyptians mastered material chemistry long before modern engineering formalized the concept of thermal expansion. In July 2018, researchers from Cairo University in St. Petersburg and the University of Laser and Optical Engineering in St. Petersburg published a study in the Journal of Applied Physics. They simulated the electromagnetic behavior of the Great Pyramid using computer modeling based on its geometry and mineral composition. The result was unexpected. The pyramid concentrated electromagnetic energy in its internal chambers and beneath its base at specific resonance frequencies. The highest energy concentration occurred in the so-called King's Chamber and directly beneath the center of the structure. These patterns only emerged under exposure to frequencies near 230 megahertz, the same band used by military radio and some modern communication systems. The study does not claim that the ancient Egyptians understood electromagnetic fields as we know them today, but it suggests the pyramid does respond physically to certain external frequencies. This opened the door to entirely new interpretations.
A follow-up study by Cairo University in 2019 examined the pyramid's materials with a focus on electrical conductivity. The granite used in the King's Chamber is rich in quartz and feldspar crystals, minerals known to vibrate under pressure and heat. This effect, called piezoelectricity, is used today in sensors and digital watches. In addition, the original outer casing of the pyramid was made from highly insulating white limestone, which prevented electromagnetic energy from leaking out. That outer layer was mostly lost due to earthquakes and centuries of stone scavenging. Some engineers have begun to speculate whether the pyramid may have functioned as a type of natural energy collector and amplifier, whether magnetic or telluric. These theories remain outside mainstream academia due to the lack of direct evidence. Still, the fact that multiple physical studies have detected unusual and measurable properties suggests that more knowledge was embedded in the design than previously believed. In 2022, Egyptian engineer Dr. Mohammed Osman published a paper in the Egyptian Journal of Engineering presenting a bold hypothesis. To him, the pyramid was not a tomb.
It was a multifunctional infrastructure. According to his theory, the pyramid's geographic location, its alignment with magnetic north, its insulated base with sealed stones, and the conductivity of its materials could form a structure capable of generating a permanent static electric field. Not for consumption, but for neutralizing atmospheric charge, a kind of massive geophysical grounding system. The idea is controversial, but it reignited debate about the pyramid's true purpose beyond burial. In fact, no mummy has ever been found inside the Great Pyramid of Khufu, which adds weight to the idea that the monument served another function. In 2023, an expedition from the University of Tokyo, in collaboration with Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities, discovered metallic tool fragments buried on the southern end of the Giza Plateau. Mass spectrometry dated them to before 2400 BC, and they were not consistent with the standard forged iron of ancient Egypt. One current theory is that they were experimental alloys made from copper hardened with arsenic, a process rarely mentioned in history books. This raises another long-overlooked question. Did the Egyptians have access to more advanced materials than official records show? The answer is still under investigation, but one thing is already clear. The construction of the Great Pyramid was not a product of brute force or lucky geology. It was a precision project involving hydraulics, navigation, mineralogy, acoustics, and applied mathematics. It was not a miracle. It was engineering at its highest level. Today, we know the ancient Egyptians mastered river logistics, used thermal engineering to manipulate stone, and achieved astronomical alignment with a precision that would not reappear for millennia. With every new finding revealed through radar, lasers, cosmic particles, or spectroscopy, it becomes increasingly clear that the Great Pyramid of Khufu is not a mystical symbol. It is a record of forgotten knowledge. The true technology behind the pyramids is coming back into the light, block by block, measurement by measurement, science by science, and it speaks more about the future than the past.
If I told you that I could give you the brain of a millionaire in the next 7 days, would you accept? If I told you that you could acquire this millionaire's brain and be propelled almost effortlessly towards a life of true wealth, click on the first link below to find out.